By this point, we've taken apart every major system: acts, beats, journeys, circles, spines. We've traced how they were built, why they worked, and how they hardened. But there's one question we haven't asked, not because it's hard, because once you ask it, there's nowhere left to hide. So here it is. What remains when you remove every model? No diagram, no paradigm, no authority. Just a story, a character, and a choice that costs something. All structure is trying to describe the same mechanism. Pressure produces change. Decisions stack, consequences stay. Strip away the language, and what's left isn't mystery, it's anatomy. This is the investigation, anatomy of story, not another system, the removal of systems. What every working story shares once theory's gone. Why no structure can manufacture meaning after the fact. Why story is shaped by one thing, the price a character is willing to pay. This is where technique ends, responsibilities begin. Every case ends the same way. You return to the beginning and realise you misunderstood the crime. Story is no different. I've put 9 different story paradigms on the table: classical, commercial, mythic, moral, and systematic. Different origins, different promises, same underlying mechanism. Each one claiming it had the whole truth. But the deeper you dig, the clearer it becomes. None of them do. Each model was a piece, useful, limited. So we stop worshipping the parts and look at the body. And this is the part most writers never see. The part gurus don't teach because it isn't clean. It doesn't fit on a whiteboard. So we open it slowly, carefully, one last time. By now the room is quiet. Chairs sit empty. Diagrams are smudged beyond recognition. All that's left is the question every writer eventually faces when the lights dim. What is a story really? This is the autopsy nobody wants, because the body on the slab is the craft itself. No gurus in the gallery, no gospel, no commandments, just raw anatomy beneath every plot twist and character arc. Every structure we chased earlier was a fingerprint on the same weapon, different grips, same handle. Strip away ego and ink, and every story runs on the same 3 fluids: desire, resistance, consequence. That's the part the manuals don't sell. No shapes for slides, no charts for seminars. Most writers memorise blueprints like disciples. Professionals learn something else. When the truth slips, where to cut. This case file isn't about worshipping maps. It's about seeing what makes them spin. Because once you see the machinery behind the magic, you don't go back to applauding with a crowd. You start writing with intent. Every paradigm we've dissected, Eastern, Western, Rebel, Orthodox, Ancient, Modern, kept circling the same fact. A character wants something badly enough to ache. The world pushes back and the character breaks, bends, or becomes something else entirely. Call it 3 acts or 15 beats. Call it myth or therapy jargon. It's the same crime scene wearing different coats. We lean in when the human is forced to choose and the choice costs them something real. That's the gravity under every plot since the first Fire in the Dark. A story isn't a map, it's a metamorphosis with casualties. Line all the suspects up from Aristotle to Pixar and you'll see the same question staring back. How does a human being change under pressure? Once you see that, you can't hide behind structure anymore, because structure isn't an alibi, it's a setup. A calculated trap designed to corner a character until the mask slips. Incite an incident, the shove. Midpoint, the walls closing. Climax, no exits. You're not arranging plot. You're engineering the moment where the lies stop working. Because story isn't about what happens out there, bullets, kisses, explosions. It's about what comes out when the character is exposed. That's the part no spreadsheet can automate. You can hit every beat and still end up with a corpse of a script. Clean, organised, but dead. Life doesn't come from obedience, it comes from pressure. Pressure applied until revelation breaks through. Once that's in your blood, you stop following the map, you run the room. And that's where the responsibility sets in. Once you know how this works, you don't get to hide behind structure. You're accountable for the life you put on the page, for the breath in your character's lungs, for the truth you drag out of them and out of yourself. This is the final case because there's nowhere left to pass the blame. No guru, no paradigm, no permission, just you, the blank page, and the oldest question in the business. What truth are you brave enough to put into the world? Here's what I found. Story is anatomy, bones, blood, breath, and one more thing, the part you can't dissect, the silence after the line lands. That's what all these cases were pointing to. Not a formula, not a map, a responsibility. This investigation was never about telling you what structure to worship. It was about stripping the altar bare. All story structures are just different ways of circling the same truth. A story changes when choices cost something, not when beats land in time, not when arcs close neatly, not when rules are obeyed. When a character wants something badly enough to risk losing who they are, you can cover it up with technique, you can delay it with cleverness, you can bury it under structure, you can't replace it. When stories fail, it's rarely because the structure was wrong, it's because the choice was cheap, no real cost, no sacrifice, no consequence. Structure didn't save those stories because structure never saves stories. Truth does, and truth always demands payment. That's the anatomy. Everything else was just vocabulary. And if you want the case files in your hands, there's a downloadable PDF waiting below. Your written brief for everything we've covered here and how to use it in your own work. Details are in the description. The case is closed, officially. But wait, there's one last file I didn't put in the main stack. Not because it didn't matter, because it didn't fit. A bonus case, a practical companion, outlier thinkers and diagnostic tool. The ones you reach for when the obvious structure stopped working and the story still won't breathe. It isn't required, but if you're the kind of writer who fixes stories instead of worshipping models, you'll know exactly why it's there. And now, we're done here. What you walk away with isn't a method, it's an instinct. And when you sit down at the blank page, you'll know exactly where to press. Take it, use it, break it, rebuild it. Now get out of here, you've got pages to write. I'm Terry Dre, and this is Investigation Anatomy of Story. Until the next investigation, be seeing you.